to Not My Rabbit Hole with Tere Joyce on Instagram and also on YouTube. I'm actually simulcasting these two shows here, and I wanted to talk about what it was like to go back to college and what my first 2 weeks has happened. Hi, I Be the Man and Dark Hippie. Thank you for being here on Instagram. And also, I have got some friends here on my YouTube channel as well. I'm simulcasting this. Okay, so I went back to college, right? And I went back to learn a few things. I've been working in online media, and I've been doing shows on YouTube. And I had, some people, call me a journalist. And I said, no, I'm not a journalist. I'm just a comedian. Because I didn't want to take that responsibility, really. It's like, oh yeah, I've been looking into things, I've been talking about them, and maybe I'm not as funny about them or whatever. But I'm not a journalist. And then I thought, well, what would it be like to actually get a degree in journalism? Like, what would that be like? All right, first of all, I want to say that when I did go back to school, for some reason, everybody looked really tiny to me. Like even the athletes, I'm like, really, are they that small? Like, it seems like when people are in their 20s and stuff like that, they're really skinny and everything. I don't know. It was a weird perception. I thought everybody looked a little bit smaller than usual. Why can't news be funny? Why can't news be funny? And you know what? News is funny. That is a crossover genre, actually, I've learned. That like when it's like Jon Stewart, Jon Stewart's funny, but more people believed in what Jon Stewart was saying because he made it funny. And in my critical thinking class, my teacher says, by the way, my teacher's name is Lee Herrick, and he's a laureate. He's a poet laureate. And has published like 3 books of poems. I really love him. I mean, he's a great, I don't mean like, oh, I really love him. Like I love him. But I really like his class. And so what was my thought here? Why can't we, he said that comedy is very powerful, because if you make something funny, people will accept it and believe it, even if it's not good. And so, using comedy and then telling the news is powerful. I mean, like the Daily Show now, it's always been that kind of a news format. Okay, so they took a few notes on things. First of all, I kind of want to brag a little bit. I do want to brag a little bit. I'm taking a screenwriting class, and it's making me think that I did change my major to journalism, but I might actually change my major to film. And, because I didn't realize that where I'm going has a good film department. And when I was reading about screenwriting, when you write your screenplay and you get it sold to Hollywood, they can take your script and do whatever they want with it. So like what you wrote may be completely changed, and you would have no power over it. You'd have the money, but your vision of what you're trying to say can be altered. And I thought, well, and the only way to actually make sure that your screenplay is done the way you see it, then you have to become a director. So I started thinking, And, now that media does not cost as much anymore, we can, you can literally shoot something on a cell phone maybe, and even and I mean, not saying that you would want to, but you could do something really inexpensive and then enter it into the film festivals and stuff like that. So here's the deal. I pitched 4 script ideas, and we had to learn a log line, meaning that you got to write your script idea in 1 line. It has to be irony. And I happen to have 4 different ideas that I've been playing with. Some of it's based on a true story. 2 of them are kind of based on a true story. Okay, so anyways, I pitched them, and he liked every single one of them. He said every single one of my ideas was viable. And that just really blew me away. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, and so he wants me to work on 2 of them and start to beef them out. And by the end of the semester, we're going to be writing we'll have it drafted, and we'll write our first act. So that's something that I was excited about. Also, I was asked to audition for a school production. He's a playwright. His name is Chuck Irvin. He wrote some plays, and of course he's written screenplays. But he's had plays produced, and so he has a group of colleagues that have written monologues. And so he asked me if I would want to do one of the monologues. And so, but I have to audition still, right? But I did get asked, and so I'm gonna audition. The rehearsals will be done by Zoom, I guess, with the person who actually writes the monologue. And the performances they're hoping that they'll be live, but bearing on COVID-19, it might be actually just filmed. So that was exciting. So I was excited about that. Now, I did put a few things that I hear I'm cheating. I'm looking at my bullet points here. Forgive me. All right. So let me see. Scream Herrick. Okay. All right. So, here's something I want to talk about for a moment. I want to talk about the requirements that that we have in order to go back to school during COVID-19. Now, the state colleges are now requiring people to be vaccinated in order to go to class. And if you don't want, but you can still have, you can still get a medical recommendation, saying that for medical reasons, you can't, be vaccinated, or you don't want to be vaccinated. And, or you can get a religious, you can have a religious exemption. I guess that's the thing. You can have like a religious exemption, or you can have a medical exemption. Okay, so if you get those two things at the state colleges, once a week, you have to be tested for COVID in order to go onto the campus and go to school. Now, most of my classes are actually online, which I happen to really like, by the way. I like online, but I do go to school twice a week. And I enjoy that too, because there's something different about being in the classroom atmosphere and being able to see the instructor. Although we're all wearing masks, we have to wear masks when we're indoors. We're really supposed to wear masks on campus. Now, where I moved to, I really don't want to say where I moved to. You know what, by the way, I know you guys over here don't know who I'm talking about, but Charles Unleashed. Shout out to Charles! Charles sent me an email recently. He has a channel. He's called Charles Unleashed. He's the assassin to the Illuminati. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, that's like a joke, right? But his channel's really funny, by the way, I think. And he does say things with humor. So I'm a fan of Charles. Charles and his bald head. Charles and your bald head. Okay. Anyways, Charles and his bald head actually ended up sending me... Sorry, I'm just being okay. So Charles ended up actually sending me a message and saying we got doxxed, and I don't know who doxxed me or why, but I've been moving around so much right now that I beg you to find me. Actually, Anyway, just throwing that out there. I'm veering off on something now. Okay. So now I want to mention that. At the school that I'm going to a city college, okay? And I'm going to the same city college that I went 25 years ago or more. All right, same one. So it's kind of like going backwards in a weird way. But I love it. I can't tell you how much I really love going to school. I love learning again. I love it. I feel like, oh my God, I didn't know these things. Or it refines the things that you know, right? So now for the city college, we are required to wear masks. We aren't required to get the jab yet. But if you do get the jab, you get $250 off on your books at the bookstore, right? Now, I want to share with you, I want to read an episode or a clip of an episode of South Park, all right, about Cartman being afraid to get vaccinations and how this unfolds. And the people you guys here on Instagram, over here on my YouTube channel, I've been talking about media literacy, and I've been talking about how mass communication, or how communication, first of all, communication in general, it defines our culture. It defines, refines, it moves our culture ahead. It creates our reality. Mass communication, the films we watch, the podcasts that we listen to. I mean, even right now, we're a small homogenous group, a small targeted audience. I don't know, I'm on social media right now on Instagram, and here I'm on my YouTube channel. Even though I don't have by the way, I have to give a shout out to the fact that my YouTube channel, my new one, just broke 11,000 views. So if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, my subscriber base is, I had to start, it's a new channel, but I'm at 222 people have subscribed, and I know that some people have come recently, so I want to thank you for being here. But it's a we're smaller, homogenized little group of people here, right? Possibly those of you who are listening to me on Instagram or who will watch this Instagram later, there's reasons why, we're communicating, right? So, but still, this topic is a big topic, and we have cartoons that are also joking. Remember I said, when you make something funny, people will believe it and accept it. And what a better way to have people accept something or believe it or have it affect them other than it being a cartoon. So I want to show you this cartoon for just a second. Let me make this bigger here. Oh, no. No, we don't want me. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna read to you guys the episode to make my point, because I can't really play it, because I don't want to lose the rights here. I don't want to get a copyright thing going on, or have because sometimes they'll make it so this video can't even be viewed if I play something like a South Park episode. Okay, so interior shot, doctor's office, day. Cartman is in his underwear sitting on the doctor's table. Cartman, no shots, no shots. Reverse to show a doctor standing with a needle and Cartman's mom slightly behind him. Cartman's mom, Eric, you have to be a big boy. Doctor, big boys get a toy from the toy chest. So here is the insight, right? You take your vaccination and you're going to get a toy, right? Remember when we got our shots in school and stuff like that, we would, or whenever we went to the doctor, got our teeth looked at or, worked on, we got a sucker, we needed a sucker, but we would get a piece of candy or something. Big boys get a toy from the toy chest. The doctor steps up to Cartman and gets the needle closer to his arm. No! Cartman squeals. Doctor, Eric, it's just a little prick. Cartman laughs. The doctor moves in. Cartman, no! Cartman's mom, good boy, Eric. Cartman cries, turns into real big squeals as he thrashes around and jumps off the table. He runs around in circles around the room while the doctor tries to catch him. Okay, now he's in the principal office at school, all right? And the principal says, our school now has a very strict policy when it comes to immunizations. Everyone has to follow protocol or it puts everyone at risk. Reverse to see Cartman with his mom in chair. She has her trench coat and purse in her lap. Cartman's mom, I'm sorry, PC principal. It's just that my little Eric really doesn't like shots. PC principal, well, Eric, nobody likes shots. They're just a fact of life. Cartman's mom, no, you don't understand. I've taken him to the doctor every Friday for the past 4 years. They try to give him his shot, and he gets scared and runs around and squeals like a little pig. The doctors try to catch him, but Eric greases himself up so that they can't. Principal, I'm sorry, but my hands are tied here. If Eric isn't immunized, then he cannot go to the school. Cartman's mom's crying with a tissue. Please, I've tried everything. You have to let Eric go to school. I work all day without school. He'll just have nothing. Here's the principal. What do you think's going to be different next time you try? Cartman's mom, if you could offer Eric something, sometimes when Eric is behaving this way, I think of a gift or a treat of some kind. Cartman, oh, that's a good idea. Principal, like, what are you thinking? Cartman's mom, I don't know. Cartman, like maybe exclusive use of the tetherball pole at recess for the next 2 months? Cartman's mom, would it be possible? The principal sits there for a moment. When can most, what I care about, for the principal, I need my glasses. Principal, what I care most about is the safety of the students. So you take your shots and then I'll agree. Sweet. And then, I'm not going to read the rest. All right. But the bottom line is he goes to get the shots and he still runs around and screams. And that's basically it. Right. So I wanted to use this as an example because this is an example of our media educating the people with a cartoon of what to do right now culturally in our society, what to do in our society, creating our culture and creating our reality. It's coming from a cartoon. And this is not an old cartoon. This is a cartoon that was created in April of 2021. Now, I'm just bringing it up. I'm not going to share my opinion about it, right? I'm not going to do that. Or I'm not going to tell you like what I think about the topic. But I'm telling you what this cartoon is doing, and then I'm talking about what the universities are doing and everything else that's going on and the requirements. So this is a direct proof of how the media is actually trying. Is this our culture? Is this a reflection of our culture? Or is this something behind the media telling us what our culture should be? That is the question that I have here on this. All right. And one of the things that I also want to bring up, maybe I'm thinking too much and I should just, be quiet about this stuff, right? Maybe I'm just thinking too much, like, should I be thinking about this? But I think we should be thinking about this because this is what helps us to become media literate, to think about these kind of things. Like, is this programming? Is this the way that, who is right? Okay. And another thing I want to bring up that I read about media is that non-media owns our media, like AT&T and Verizon and these companies that are not really involved with the process of creating media, but they bought out all these other companies, and that our media is controlled by conglomerates. There's less people. There's smaller groups of people in control of the larger portion of the media outflow. And so that means that there's a group of people that are basically controlling the major dialogue of where that media goes to, right? And then what else is behind that is the advertisers. And we as consumers are considered products to the advertisers, and yet we are the consumers of the mass media. So anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. That is something that, I did learn while in school. Now, I did write a paper, and the paper that I did write had to do with, some of the media that I've been covering here on my channel. One of the exercises that we were supposed to talk about was we were supposed to watch our own media consumption. Oh, Steve the Virgin Man joined. Hi. Steve, are you really a virgin? No. All right. I was supposed to follow what I watched. And because I was school, the only thing that I really watched that much was what was unfolding with Miles Johnston. So I wanted to share my paper. This is the one I did well on. That I got 48 out of 50. My teacher did say that I veered off the subject a little bit, but I brought it back around again. So I just want to read what I'm sharing here, what I want to share. Oh, it's not going to show it. Wait. Funny. I can't show it to you, so I'm just going to have to read it. All right. So here we go. The first thing I do upon waking up is check the Facebook account. There are usually 10 to 15 glaring notifications before sunrise. I usually inspect with anxiety because it's highly likely I've infuriated someone with one of my posts. I either debate or attempt to do damage control over a cup of coffee. The days that I monitored my media consumption was slightly different than my usual routine before school started. I noticed on my iPad that my screen time was about 90 minutes less than typical. How did returning to college life affect what I viewed? I did not have as much time. I did not have as much time to iWorld events. For example, I learned about the ongoing Dixie Fire in California from a friend's post on Facebook. The next piece of media that I consumed was on YouTube. I had flagged a video to watch later. The video pertained to a story that I've been following and was reporting on my own YouTube channel. A UFO conspiracy YouTuber named Miles Johnston of the Basis Project had sent several emails claiming he was arrested for rape by the Melksham Police Department in the UK. Johnston alleges he was an investigative journalist who previously worked for the BBC before covering government conspiracies and reptilian aliens. Following the Miles Johnston video, I watched a video about another UFO personality named Simon Parkes. Simon Parkes claims he's occasionally required to mate with an alien cat queen and has alien feline hybrid children. A woman has come forward attesting that Simon Parkes has a sex altar. Consequently, he asked her to smear some of his menstrual blood on one of his neckties to give it to him. You can't make this stuff up, or can you? And give it to him. Okay. In my assessment, Simon Parkes' online activity needs to be closely monitored. He is a major player in continuing to spew QAnon conspiracies on YouTube. Subsequently, Parkes and his bandit of disinfo agents are purchasing Asian and Indian cooking channels, crowning 350,000 subscribers. They have switched the content from how to make some tasty naan to Trump is coming back to save the day. During my 2-day observation, I noticed that I listened to a lot of music on Spotify. As a matter of fact, I'm listening to a trip-hop selection as I type this sentence. At dinner time, my roommate and I have been watching the Netflix documentary series Wild Wild Country. The series is about how the Guru Osho and the Rajneesh followers took over a small town in the state of Oregon. The series is an interesting study on how the Rajneesh created their own town, police, and government for the freedoms of their religious utopia. Yet later, they become a militant cult busted by the FBI. How does my media consumption differ from the average American? Most likely a bit. Most likely a lot. For one thing, I have not owned a television for the last 10 years. Occasionally, I get to watch mainstream news while visiting a friend for morning coffee. I typically find news stories from social media, Apple News, Google, YouTube, and content suggested by my friends. I also do a lot of research and Googling on my own. Another thing that sets me apart from the average American media viewer is that I am an online media content provider myself. I've been a part of a fringe media known as the truth media. However, I've discovered that a lot of online alternative media is far from disseminating factual information. It's an anarchy of false spiritual teachers, UFO secret program disclosures, and crystal-loving snake oil salesmen. I suppose the main question to ask oneself is, how far do you want to go down the rabbit hole? So, I just wanted to read that because, I wanted to read it here too because I think in a nutshell, it pretty much shows, like what I've been doing over here on YouTube, if you didn't really know of what I was involved with. And I don't know if you, because my Instagram friends are different than my friends on YouTube. A lot of you guys who have subscribed to my channel, you're here because we talk about the same things, because we are considered one of the smaller homogenous groups that are here. And we're even a more select group, because I think that now some of you that are listening to my channel, you are the ones who are waking up and realizing what's been going on in this UFO community that we have been a part of and participated in, or spiritual community, or however. Because here's the deal, when I'm talking about watching a television show like Wild Wild Country, and you hear about how Osho, or how this religion gets spouted up, and how these people just, took over their own, made, because in America we feel like, well, why can't I just, create my own town? They think about David Koresh, like a group of people that have a collective thought that end up occupying a certain area, and, changing the paradigm from what they live in. Well, you just can't do that. You just can't, have your own, you can't have your own police. You can't arm yourself. I mean, think about if they had done that today in how we feel about, gun control. And today we're much more conservative about those things. And I know that a lot of people had different feelings about what happened to David Koresh and how they handled it, whether they were right to be doing what they're doing, were they really a threat? But then that's a whole nother conversation. But it's an interesting study that if you do get a chance to watch Wild Wild Country, I would, it's a good documentary, and it actually takes it from two different sides. It shows the opposing side of view, and then you get to hear the members and what they thought and what it was like for them. And it doesn't really have a judgment on really what is right and wrong, but rather it reports or it documents what happened. So it's worth watching. I'm going to have a little water here. I don't know if you guys know that there are a group of people out there, this UFO community, this media that call themselves a truth media. And it's not like I want to say that none of it was true, or that it's not, I think it's perfectly okay if you want to have a YouTube channel and you want to do commentary or research or investigate what you think is really going on in the world. But I think that if you're going to be doing those things, that we as content providers have to sit back and really source our material. And when we're making an argument, we need to show why we're making that argument. And we need to make sure that we're just not making just blank statements of what we think is fact or not fact. And I hope that if you're watching me here on Instagram or here on YouTube, or you're listening to my show on Anchor, that you or I, and we can all become more media literate and actually question and review and do our own research and our own independent thinking about what's going on. Because when we get information, it goes from the source to the receiver, and then the media is the thing that's in between there. And like for example, I'm talking to you and I'm talking into here, and I can see Steve Ronan is laughing, right? He found something funny, and that's nice feedback, right? I can't hear you, but I can see something here. This media here, right here, I can see right away. There's some media that you can't get an immediate response. For example, like, when you go watch, like if you were to see an episode of Walking Dead, the producers that put Walking Dead out and released it on a date doesn't know what the audience really thinks until later. So there's a later response of what's happening. I don't know if you really wanted to know that much detail, but I think that, we're tuned in. We are media. We are media consumers. And, those of you who do watch this channel or have tapped in and you're on my friends or my Instagram, or you're finding me on Anchor, a podcast is part of media. And this moment right now is actually, in some very small way, maybe actually affecting our culture. And I, right now, in my own small way, am a storyteller of that culture. All right, so on that note, I will bid you adieu on my Not My Rabbit Hole podcast. And if you like to listen to me, I'm on Anchor, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Google Play. If you want to support my channel, you can do that in various ways. On Anchor, you can become a monthly sponsor. I do have one there. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/Freedom of Joyce. If you want to give me a one-time donation in support of my school studies and also my podcast and media that I'm creating, because who knows what I'm going to evolve into, you can do that at hollywoodhemptress@gmail.com. And I do thank you for your support. I have some regular supporters, and I do have sometimes one-time donations. So you know who you are, and I thank you for supporting my work and my education. And I really appreciate that. And that's it. All right. There's one more thing I was going to think about saying, but I can't remember now. So I'm going to say goodbye on Instagram, and I'll see you next time.